Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Key Stage 3 information evening. Thank you so much for joining us online. We're starting to get used to doing things in this way, but it is a bit different for us. For those of you who've not met me or waved at me across the rec, my name is Nina Adamson. I'm the head teacher here at St Edward's Royal Free, and I've been the head teacher here since September 2020. I wanted to take this opportunity actually to just introduce myself to you. I think under normal circumstances, parents like to meet the head teacher of the school that their children are going to, and I'd have provided some opportunities for you to be able to do that, and we've not been able to do that this year. So I thought it was quite important that I took this chance to tell you a little bit more about myself, and then I hope we'll move on and you will get lots of fantastic information about Key Stage 3. So a little bit about me. I've been in education for over 20 years now. I was one of those unusual people who went straight through school and university and into teaching. So I started teaching when I was 22. And I've had a variety of different positions over the years. I started life as a history teacher. Some of you will know that because I teach some of your Year 8 children history this year. And I went on then to be a head of year and have a variety of different positions. My first senior leadership position was actually as a Senko, and I was promoted then to deputy head teacher, and that was at a grammar school not too far from here. Most recently, I have been head of school in a large church secondary school in outer London. On a personal note, I do have 3 children of my own. They're not dissimilar in age to middle school children. So I do think I know a little bit about the sort of pressures and the wants that we have as parents for children of around that age. More personally, and I'm sure some of your children will tell you a little bit about me because I do like to talk to them about different things. I am also an avid keeper of hens and also for my sins, a little bit of a Disney fanatic. I like to have chats about Disney. I have to say, I do really love being here at St Edward's Royal Free. A lot of people, some of yourselves included, have sort of said to me, I feel sorry for you taking over a school under these circumstances, and therefore it seems a bit strange to be saying I love it, but I do love it actually. St Edward's is an amazing school, and I have to say your children Year 7 and 8 have come back and they have settled in exceptionally well considering the slightly rocky year that we've had. They are keen. They want to learn, they are for the most part absolutely happy, and it's a really wonderful place to be. The kind of ethos of kindness really permeates, and support really permeates everything here, and for that reason I feel really blessed actually that I have been given this opportunity to lead St Edward's in the next stage of its development. We're blessed here with fantastic staff as well. We're really fortunate that those staff have come back and thrown themselves into teaching in a slightly different way, and as such we've had a really successful term. So a little bit more about this evening. I think it should take about 45 minutes. Most of the evening is going to be run by Mrs. Meany, who many of you know is our head of Key Stage 3, and she's going to talk to you about various different elements of Key Stage 3. After Mrs. Meany, Mr. Miles, our deputy head teacher, will be coming to talk to you, and in particular he'll be telling you about how parents' evenings will run next term. A recording of this presentation will be available on the website. If you do know of parents who are not able to join us this evening online, perhaps you could pass that message on and I will be sharing that with them as well. And finally, just to say, I really do hope that I get to meet you in person at some point soon. That doesn't mean that you can't contact me. Please do contact me with any queries, and I really do hope to meet you in person soon. Thank you very much, and I will shortly be handing over to Mrs. Meany. Do bear with us if it's a little bit clunky. Goodbye.
Good evening, everybody. As Mrs. Addison just said, my name's Mrs. Meany and I'm the head of Key Stage 3 here at St Edward's. Right, my plan for this evening is to give you as much information as possible, and I know that there's quite a lot, so you might need to revisit it once it's up again on the website. Okay, so our objectives for this evening are to have an understanding of the curriculum experience at Key Stage 3, to understand how to support your child, particularly in English, to understand how to support your child through Key Stage 3 at STURF in general, and to be aware of the need to build positive relationships. At the top of this slide is our vision or mission statement. St Edward's Royal Free is a distinctively Christian school in which we as individuals achieve and thrive with dignity, knowing that we are loved by God. In our supportive and exciting environment, we're given opportunities to grow and learn, to aim for excellence in all we do and develop inquiring minds. And we focus on our 4 Christian values of service, excellence, respect and faith. As you know, this is something that we spent quite a long time deciding on. Approximately 2 years ago, we had working parties consisting of parents, of governors, of staff, and of course every child in school at that time had input into our new vision statement. This is something we revisit every September as part of the start of the school year. When it comes to behaviour, the focus very much now is on having conversations rather than consequences. It's important that the child actually understands what the behaviour is that we feel is wrong. That conversation, we hope, particularly in Key Stage 3, is more of the child coming to the understanding of what they've done wrong, and then they are asked what they think the consequence should be, given the behaviour and the severity or not of it. Pupils need to learn that we all, which includes adults and teachers, make mistakes. It's important that we own them, take responsibility from them, and we learn from them. We're trying to develop stronger pupil-tutor relationships. Relationships is definitely the way to go when it comes to behaviour. We're ensuring our school values of service, excellence, respect and faith are actually living and breathing. We try to focus on the good things, and each new day is a chance to start afresh. For those of us who have just moved from Key Stage 2 into Key Stage 3, there is a timetable on the screen at the moment that shows our 25 lessons a week are a mixture of core. So in our school, a core subject is maths, English, science and religious education, and foundation subjects. Some lessons are taught in mixed groups and some are in tutor groups. There are a few changes to the hours in certain subjects. For example, you'll notice that there are extra French lessons in Key Stage 3 to prepare them for upper school. PSHE is taught through a carousel of creative arts, which includes food technology, art, music and drama. We also teach PSHE now as part of our worship schedule on a Friday morning. Towards the end of Year 7, pupils are given the chance to pick options for Year 8. About 5 years ago, we introduced this. They have 1 lesson per week in a subject of their choice, and the subjects this year have been music, computing, drama and media, Italian and sports science advanced PE. We try to ensure that every pupil receives their first or second choice, and this allows pupils a taster of the types of lessons that they might be able to have at GCSE. Careers links are clear in these subjects, and we often have visitors in from industry to speak to these learners. Our curriculum. As many of you know, we spent much of last year working on curriculum maps and learning paths, and these can be accessed so that you know exactly what your child is learning through our website. The slide now on the screen shows you where to go and shows you our learning journeys and our curriculum pathways. Please do take time to look through these, as you'll see what it is that your child is expected to learn and experience throughout their time here with us at St Edward's. Homework timetables. Your child should have a homework timetable in their planner. These were given out back within the first week of term in September. If for whatever reason their homework timetable hasn't made it to you yet, you can find them on our website at the link on the screen. Children are expected to do homework every night. The amount set is between 15 and 30 minutes for each subject. Independent learning is the reason for this homework, and it's through independent learning that we're able to realise and understand exactly where your child needs further help and support. When it comes to homework, teachers should not have to chase Key Stage 3 pupils for it. They should be independent enough to be able to do it and hand it in on the correct day. This doesn't happen in upper schools where they chase it, it's just left and they receive sanctions accordingly. As and when you get reports, which we'll talk about in a minute, you must look at their ATL grades, the Attitude to Learning grades. If you're unsure what this means, there is a copy of it in your pupils' handbook, in their planner book. Please do look at it, and also look at the ATL grades in their books when their books go home. The more effort a learner puts in, then the better the grade will be at the end of the day. The library is open most days. It is on a rota system at the moment purely because of the situation with COVID, but within the library there are computers, so even those pupils who struggle to access computers at home have the ability to access it in school. We do normally have homework support available, though currently that is greatly reduced because of the COVID situation. Reading should be every night for about 15 to 20 minutes, and this is in addition to the homework timetable on the screen. We're now going to have a short presentation by Mrs. Bruce Carter.
Good evening, and thank you for listening to this presentation about the English department and how you can help your child in Key Stage 3 English. On our website, you'll see that we have some content all about our pathways and journeys. These questions are all about the book or the topic that your child is studying, so you should be able to answer these questions with your child by the end of the topic that they have studied. Feel free to have a little look at these, and it shows all the way from Year 5 through to Year 8 the kind of learning questions that we expect them to be able to answer. We also have more detailed curriculum maps on the website should you want to know what kind of objectives they are studying in lessons with each of their topics. This will show the autumn, the spring and the summer terms, and some of those extra depth questions are for our more able learners to have a think about. Why pupils love English at STURF? We asked them and they said they liked the fun, engaging lessons, they liked that it was a collaborative learning process, they liked the exciting atmosphere in lessons, they thought it was a cultural experience with the texts that we studied from different places around the world, they liked the fact there was a competitive spirit because everything that we read helps us to win house points for our house competitions, and they liked the fact that English lessons are a supportive environment and it makes them really inquisitive. They get to ask really good questions. They also really enjoy our library lessons, so each week the pupils have access to the library and they get to complete their accelerated reader quizzes and they get to loan out books and iPads when they'd like to be able to use them. We also have free ebooks, so if you're not sure where to get books or what you should give to your children to let them read, then the ebook system is a free system that we have with our Hampshire Library Service, and you can use the initial surname as the username and password is library1 to access a free range of ebooks at home or on a smart device. We also, as part of our Hampshire Library Service, have access to a lovely newsletter called The Day, which has got articles that you can read. This also has really good key questions about things that are happening, current events, politics, and about the world. So this is a really nice thing that you can read at home and discuss. Some people will have this set for homework as well. On our website, we have a selection of reading lists for each year group. So if you're not sure what kind of reading your child might want to do, then you can look on this reading list, and the Library Service have recommended some of our more popular reads, which have quizzes for our accelerated reader programme as well. Students can also look around the school because there's posters on each teacher's door with their favourite book, and that might give them some ideas as well. Accelerated Reader. All children are signed up to the Accelerated Reader programme, and this allows them to take quizzes. What they need to do is they need to sign in their library lessons or at home now. They can do this at home and they take the quiz on the book that they've read once they've finished reading it. You also will have received a login when your children were in Year 5 or when they started at the school, and this allows you to see their progress and to see which books they've taken and how the questions are going and how they've done on their STAR test as well. So if you have lost your login details, please do contact the school and we can get that sent to you. Some of your pupils will be on Lexia, so this is a phonics and spelling programme which helps with vocabulary, helps with comprehension, and sometimes you'll be asked your child to do some Lexia at home as well as in their library lessons. If you think your child will benefit from this and they're not on the programme, then please do speak to your English teacher about that. Vocabulary support. We all hate slides with this amount of information on it, so this is one to have a little look at in your own time as well. This will all be on the website for you to access. But we are working on vocabulary with children and how words are formed and what words mean. So some of the things here you could try to do with your children at home. So when you're seeing new words, talk about the importance of those words and what they might mean. We all have words that we don't know. That I don't think there's anyone, even Susie Dent from Countdown, knows every single word ever. So we need to teach children how to look them up, how to look in the dictionary, or to go onto the internet and look up definitions. To say that we don't know everything and that we still love learning new words, because every day is a school day for everyone. Keeping track of them, writing them down, maybe having a little glossary, maybe placing games with them. They say it takes about 17 times seeing a word and understanding it for you to get it into your brain. So they need to expose themselves to that word over and over again. Sometimes to work on more technical language. So maybe if you're reading a magazine or a cookbook or something, and there's some technical vocabulary, you talk through what that means, and that words have different meanings in different contexts. To learn common roots, prefixes and suffixes, that will help if they're thinking about words across different curriculum areas. Maybe drawing them out or acting them out to help them to remember what it means. To relate them to real life experiences. So if you're going around the supermarket or you're going to a bank and you use some key terminology that you think they don't know, then that might help them. And obviously reading everything, reading all the time. The more they read, the better their vocabulary will get, and they'll understand more words as they read. As I said, try to read every day, and there's a list here of different things that you can do to help your child to read. So reading magazines, reading books, keeping dictionaries around the house to help them to look up words. Maybe read out mysteries and try and figure out clues together. If there's a movie coming out that you think the whole family might enjoy, then maybe read the book first and see which one you like better. Having some time set aside and somewhere nice to read, that might help. Going to the library, they are still open sometimes with appointments at the moment, but they are still available for children to get new books. Writing as well, so letters, thank you notes, Christmas wish lists, all those sorts of things, journal, blog. And asking questions about what they're reading. So even though it might not be the most interesting thing to you, maybe just asking them, what's it about? You know, who are the people in it? Are there any kind of key morals? Would you recommend it to someone else? And it makes them talk about it and be interested in the books and show that you're interested as well. Maybe to turn it into a comic strip or to turn it into a game or a puzzle, just to show that they've understood what they've read. We have reading assemblies in school, so it'd be really lovely to celebrate some of our reading successes, and then we'll share readers, honour readers, and how we've raised any money for charity as well within the department. Peters. Now, you may have heard of Peters. Your children in year 7 and 8 complete these paragraphs called Peter paragraphs, and it's all about how we analyse text. So we thought we'd explain what Peters were, because you've possibly heard about them. The children don't necessarily love them, but it's a way of structuring their analysis to help them to go into more detail. So this is moving on from the PE structure they may have done previously, so they've gone on to Peters. What are you saying about the text is the point, so you might make a point. So for instance, we're studying Christmas Carol in year 8, so Scrooge is an unfair and unkind man, for instance. Evidence, a quotation that proves your point is true, hard and sharp as flint, or solitary as an oyster. That's the quotation that you take directly from the book, exactly those words, and you put down as evidence. Technique, so we look at it and we think, oh, okay, what techniques have been used by the author and what's the effect? So using these two similes, Dickens is showing that Scrooge is a character who is coarse and harsh, and that he's not very well liked and spends a lot of time alone. And the reader could feel sympathy for Scrooge, however they might not, because of his behaviour and treatment of the poor during the Victorian period. Explaining what the quotation tells you about the character or theme. So this is what you sort of link it to, maybe what's happening during that time period, linked to the question that you've been asked, and adding in lots of layers of meaning. So pulling out keywords from the quote and sort of analysing it. So you could talk about flint and what that could mean. Thinking about the word sharp, could that mean that it's sharp to touch or that sharp intelligence? Looking at solitary and the word, and what does it mean, and why would it be really hard for people who are alone during Victorian England? Oysters, you know, how have they changed over time? time. They've become a real delicacy about what could be hidden inside. So could the opening of an oyster and the cracking of that hard shell be reflective of Scrooge's personality? And then what does the reader or the audience think, and what effect does it have? So making sure that we are talking about audiences now, and readers now, and readers and audiences of the time, and how they might respond. Obviously Dickens was trying to write this book to try and get people to be kinder to the poor and be more generous and be more full of Christmas spirit. So that might be something that you put into your reader response, the person reading it. So children can write their own reader response. How does it affect them, and how does it influence how they feel about that character in that Peter as well? Okay, I've popped another example here. So this is an example of Peter analysing some war poetry, just highlighting the different parts of it. So your point is usually the point that you're making. The evidence is what you've taken from the text. So it might be a whole sentence, or it might be some keywords embedded. Then it's got your technique and your explanation can be combined. It doesn't have to be in this order. They can do it in any order they like, but this is sometimes a good way of helping them to remember what to include. And then the reader response at the end as well. We are still hoping to have World Book Day this year. So World Book Day we're coming up in March, and people will hopefully dress up as their favourite literary characters. This year we're hoping to still go ahead with that, but some of the events may be virtual. But just to give you a heads up, that will be on the calendar in March for the English department. Google Classroom, pupils have access to all their lesson information and resources and homework tasks on Google Classroom. Students should be checking their Gmail and their Google Classroom for notifications regularly. That would really help us out in the English department too. Please feel free to send any questions in via the office email, and myself or Miss Wright or your child's English teacher will be happy to answer them. Really appreciate your time listening, and I hope that this has given you a bit of an overview of Key Stage 3 English and how you can help your child at home. Thank you.
Okay, so reporting. Reports go home at the end of each long term, and they include key objectives for each subject. In previous years, we've sent books home at key points throughout the year. However, due to the current situation, this isn't happening, but we do hope to restart this valuable exercise as soon as possible. Please, as I said before, do go through books with your children and look at the comments that have made, look at their handwriting, look at the responses they've made to comments that staff have made in there. It all helps. Just to let you know that not every piece of work is marked by a member of staff. We encourage self-marking and assessment, peer marking and peer assessment. It's just good that they have different people giving them feedback. Leadership opportunities. The picture here is our pupil leadership team in school at the moment. Usually we have loads of leadership opportunities: librarians, mentors, house captains, vice house captains, arts council, digital leaders, maths leaders, prefects, sports leaders. We have quite a lot of opportunities. However, due to the current situation, these have been reduced because we're not allowed to cross bubbles. However, we still do have our house and vice captains, an arts council and some prefects. The way that it works is that tutors nominate the prefects and peer mentors, and that's done purely by staff. But the rest of the opportunities for leadership that are available are done by the pupils themselves within school. Key Stage 3, obviously, we're looking to be the leaders of the school, so we set the example for those in Key Stage 2, and that includes with uniform behaviour and punctuality. We do expect them to set very high examples and standards. There's more detail about uniform, including haircuts, on our website. Punctuality is not just about getting to school in the morning, it's about arriving on time to lessons and ensuring that we learn how to do that as an essential life skill. At Key Stage 3, pupils are expected to be more independent in both their work and daily lives. So that includes at home. We don't expect you to pack their school bags. They should be capable of doing that themselves now. Looking ahead to the next stage after they leave us, any time from sort of now onwards, you should start looking both at websites, online virtual tours that are happening for the next stage of their academic career. Obviously, things are different at the moment because of the pandemic, but usually we do recommend visiting on open days in advance of making your choice of school. Transition usually happens where they will spend a day or two at either Windsor Boys School, Windsor Girls School or Hollyport, obviously dependent on local and national restrictions at the time. It gives them an opportunity to trial some subjects and meet teachers. They may also sit tests in the upper school to help with setting when they go there. We, as staff, also meet with the upper school staff to ensure that we're preparing them for the transition process by sharing information. And this usually starts in May, when I go over and start talking to the upper school. Closer to the end of the summer term, Windsor Boys School, Windsor Girls School and Hollyport head teachers usually come into St Edward's to talk through common queries and any issues that the pupils may have themselves. Some pupils require extra transition support, and those pupils will be nominated for additional day visits and a programme of support which allows them to meet key staff and attend additional days at the school that they will be attending. For everybody, there are 2 taster days in July for the Windsor Boys School and Windsor Girls School, allowing pupils a chance to become familiar with the school grounds and meet their form tutors for the following years. Transition mentors are used to support new pupils in their first year there. Hollyport usually has 1 taster day with the same purpose, and pupils going there will spend time with us in school supporting our Year 4s with their transition. Obviously, before transition in June, we have transition exams, and what you can see on the screen now is an example transition timetable for exams. Transition exams help us to send important data to the upper school and gives us progress data for their time at Sturf. During pastoral time, tutors go through different strategies for revision, and the PowerPoint that's used will be available on the website for pupils and yourselves to revisit as often as necessary. Our transition and transfer exams have been developed along with the other middle schools and upper schools to ensure that there is fairness across the entire borough. Cross-phase meetings are held throughout the year to set assessment criteria and ensure we're supporting students with the development of skills for upper school needs. They sit assessments throughout the year as well as a main transfer exam during exam week. This assessment will have been prepped for in lessons. The pupils' own exercise books serve as revision guides, but pupils may also wish to look at Key Stage 3 BBC Bite-Size website and some CGP revision guides. The raw scores from the exams are sent to the upper schools, which are combined with our other data, along with the upper school tests completed on transfer days, in order to determine their groups. In case you think, oh, my child's in Year 7, I don't need to worry, the whole school has exam week around the same time as Year 8 sits their transfer exams. So whether we're in Year 7 or Year 8, we're all subject to anxiety, and it's important that we don't patholise normal as abnormal. Anxiety around exams is perfectly normal. Prepare teams from the beginning of the year praise hard work, not being clever. So it's not the grade that they get, it's the amount of hard work that they've put into it. The usual stress response interventions that we're told in everyday life are good. Exercise, healthy eating, breathing, mindfulness, relaxation, etc. Effective study should be just enough. Avoid binging and all-nighters. Review, make notes. Some people work better if they do voice recording and then play it back and review key points. It's important that they get a good night's sleep. They can always go through key points again the morning of the exam. They need to know where to go and to go straight there. There's no benefit in gossiping to other people about what may or may not or how they feel. Psychological, it's important that they're realistic. So not every child is going to come out being an A star. They need to be realistic in their expectations, and we're proud of all the pupils, no matter what they achieve, providing they've worked hard for it. However, failure can be good as well. Failure can be adaptive. Some people need to fail in order to work harder and understand how the situation works. Be supportive, but please don't be too protective of them. Careers. We have been and will continue to work on careers education, preparing pupils for the working world. We've run careers sessions in pastoral time and successful careers days, which have taught pupils interview skills, CV writing skills, and allowed them to create online profiles, which help them look for jobs they might like. If you need further information, please go to the web address that's on this page. Key Stage 3 complete a variety of careers activities throughout their time at St Edward's. Pastoral sessions and activities are led by tutors following a set of national resources. National Careers Week allows us to introduce the students to speakers from the world of work and share information about qualifications, CV writing, job interviews and apprenticeships. Part of this week is the Year 8 Careers Day, which allows pupils to create personal profiles online which show them the potential jobs and career routes open to them. These profiles can be kept and continued for their journey to the upper schools. Throughout the year, trips are led to STEM and careers events which give pupils inspiration and encouragement in different areas of the working world. We work closely with the upper school to ensure our programme covers the expected government requirements from pupils in Year 8 and above. Over their Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4 curriculum, they will experience a range of events and placements which show the Gatsby 8 benchmarking criteria. As a school, we work closely with the Learning to Work team, who provide workshops with local companies and opportunities to practice business and enterprise skills. In Year 7, pupils complete a Minivans business activity, and in Year 8, a Lion's Den type presentation challenge. We link our Careers provision, as I've just said, with the upper school in line with the Gatsby benchmarks. We cover all aspects required and comply with legal requirements for pupils in Year 8 and above. Pastoral support. Staff have received training on identifying any mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, anorexia and self-harm. We have in-house ELSAs, which are emotionally literacy support assistants, to which tutors can refer pupils. This obviously requires parental consent. We have a nurture room known as the Cave, which is a safe space that pupils can go to for help and guidance. We run a peer mentoring scheme to support learners, and outside counsellors come in to run self-esteem groups. We're currently trying to we have engaged a counsellor to provide one-to-one counselling for those who require it. However, there is a waiting list for that counsellor, and again, we do need parental permission. In Year 8, as I mentioned earlier, pupils may be nominated for additional transition programmes within the upper school to help ease movements between schools. How to support your child even when they get really scary. Allow for mistakes. Be ready to negotiate. Make use of helpful websites. Access resources to support learning. Make sure there's a regular place and time for homework to be completed. Regulate screen time. That's not just time in front of a computer, that's time on their phones as well. Talk about things. Chat about school. Encourage them to maintain exercise and interests outside of the school environment. As parents, come to any school events that you can to show that you support and encourage them. Praise and encourage effort. Make sure they're learning every day. Model reading for them. Model maths for them. Access support if you need it, but always maintain a sense of perspective. Talking to your child. Getting teenagers to talk openly about what's bothering them can be hard, particularly as they approach teenage years. They tend to revert into what I call grunt mode. So try following these tips to try and get them talking to you about their worries. Ask, but don't judge them. Ask, but don't assume or accuse. Be clear that you want to help. Be honest yourself. Help them to think for themselves. Particularly if they have made a mistake, help them to realise where they've gone wrong by getting them to talk about it. Pick your battles. If they get angry, try not to react. Help them to feel safe. Avoid asking questions they won't answer and don't interrupt when they do decide to talk. Decide what the boundaries are and stick to them. Teenagers may object to these, but they know they are a sign that you care for and about them. A recommendation. As part of my mental health training that I've been doing, this book has come recommended. As part of growing up, we all change emotionally and mentally as well as physically, and it's well documented that many teenagers start to suffer more mental health issues in today's society than before, and this has probably increased again since this year. This book may help in dealing with those changes in a young person. Mental health is as important as physical health, and pupils learn about both as part of their curriculum. Some staff have completed extra training to help support these young people who need it, and we're also able to signpost them to specialist services and support as needed. So I presume we all know how to keep mentally healthy, but this is just a quick revision. So sleep is important, exercise, being mindful, talking. Sometimes things do get difficult, and the first person to approach is the form tutor. We unfortunately have had experience of dealing with young people with mental health issues, and so can support and signpost you to further help. The best support is to try and give your child support with developing good mental health. There now follows a short film. This film is made for children, but I think it serves as a useful reminder as how we can all feel.
This film is about mental health, talking about it and listening to others.
Mental health is about our feelings, our thinking, our emotions, and our moods. Everybody knows how to look after physical health, but looking after our mental health is just as important because you can't see it, you need to talk about it.
Good morning, Afia.
Good morning, Miss.
Good morning, Kai.
Good morning, Miss.
Good morning, Jack.
Good morning, Miss.
Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Miss.
Good morning, Sid.
Good morning, Miss.
Good morning, Sophie.
Good morning, Miss.
Good morning, Jay.
Good morning, Miss. This film is all about Jay and us. We're her friends. We're all 10 or 11 years old, all in the same school, live in the same area, but we're all very different to each other.
We all have different feelings every day. They come and go.
You can feel excited,
Silly.
angry, nervous, grumpy, confused,
Lonely.
happy, confident.
These are small feelings that we all have every day. What can we do when small feelings are bothering us?
I like KFC, or I like going in the bath. I would probably write it down. You'll feel it's out of you and on the paper. I usually read a book, so I can just escape into the book and then my worries are behind me. When I feel stressed, I usually just turn a shower on and sing in the shower. Just like sit down and play on my favourite video game, really. You could count until you don't feel stressed.
Sometimes we can have big feelings and they don't go away. Big feelings can affect our mental health.
Big feelings can stop us getting on with our lives. They can change how well we feel, how we behave, how we see the world, and how we get on with other people.
Some of Jay's feelings stayed too long and they got too big for her to manage on her own.
What's wrong with Jay? She's usually mature and good at getting her work done.
How are big feelings affecting Jay?
Am I in a jungle? Am I in the sea? My head is going crazy. Will you come and save me? My tummy hurts. I can't get to sleep at night. I can't concentrate at school. It feels like I have a volcano inside of me getting hotter and hotter.
Sometimes it might help to talk to someone about our feelings, but it can be hard to find the right person.
Do you think your mum might know something's wrong? My mum has her own problems. She's not very well. I've been looking after her. What about telling Miss Evelyn? She's always busy. What about your sister? I wanted to talk to her, but how could I say it?
Sometimes it can be difficult to know what to say.
Can I talk to you?
I've been having a really hard time lately. Please help me. I'm really struggling.
If someone wants to tell you something, how could you be a good listener?
If you're listening to someone, you can lean forward or sit side by side.
Make them feel comfortable.
Always listen to them. Give them your time and attention.
If you're a friend, you might not know what you could do, but you can help the person find an adult who can help.
Let's see how Jay got on.
Hi, I'm Jack.
I don't go to school with Jay, but I go to swimming with Jay. It was me she decided to talk to, and I was worried about her. I told our coach because I thought she know the best thing to do.
I can see now that my problems are too big for me to deal with on my own. Other people have ideas and experience. There are lots of choices. I just had to think it through. Talking to someone didn't magic all the bad things away, but it did start to help me to change things, and it was good not to feel I was on my own. I'm 11 years old, and I realized if I wanted things to get better, I just needed a bit of help.
If your feelings are getting too big to cope with on your own, talking to someone you trust might really help.
Okay, house competitions. Years 7 and 8 have the opportunity to be vice and house captains of their houses, Alban, Bede, Clumber and Dunstan, and there are a range of competitions throughout the year which Key Stage 3 normally lead on. Clubs and extracurricular activities. Pupils can enhance their learning and development through numerous opportunities outside the weekly timetable of lessons. A variety of clubs and workshops organised by members of staff and external coaches take place during lunchtime, before and after school. We try to encourage all pupils to participate and engage in at least one activity during the school year. Usually there are a variety of clubs on offer, including sport, drama, chess, art, DT, RE, quiet club, Lego, math surgeries, choir, to name but a few. Some clubs are invitation only and these tend to be at lunchtime. Clubs are limited at the moment due to the current pandemic and being unable to mix bubbles. Key Stage 3 also have a pledge book. Those of you in Year 8 will already hopefully know something about it, and if you don't, the link is on the page. Year 7 will soon get theirs. So what are the pledge activities? We have enrichment, sports, leadership, charity events, community work and clubs, inter-house competitions, delivery to a large audience and house entertainment. We realise that some of these may be difficult to achieve at the moment due to the current situation, but we're working to find ways around it. You may notice from some of the clubs, some of the activities that are on the screen, that they're not all done in school. Anything that a pupil does outside school also counts towards their pledge book. If pupils complete the pledge, they receive a special certificate at the end of Year 8. This can be passed on to the next school and can be mentioned in their UCAS applications as an example of great participation in extracurricular projects. All activities are signed off by the teacher in charge of Key Stage 3 and pledges must be completed over Year 7 and Year 8. Once they've completed the pledge book, there is the opportunity to complete an extension pledge. This is where pupils can challenge themselves even further, and there is a reward for those pupils who complete this pledge at the end of Year 8. Just to give you an update on attendance, our attendance up to the 27th of November was 97.19% for the whole school, which is really, really good given our current situation. Year 8 was 96.7 and Year 7 97%. So come on Year 8, let's see if we can't beat Year 7. Just before he left, Mr. Welsh attended a conference about challenging boys, and he would like us to share some of this information with you. Boys lag behind girls before they even start school, and most struggle to catch up for a host of biological and environmental reasons. Male suicides for young adult males are on the increase. Early deaths for men under 45 from suicide, undiagnosed male cancers are a huge cause of concern and some of the biggest killers. 95% of the prison population is male. And national statistics show girls outperforming boys at all ages and stages. So for schools and parents, it's an issue that we should all be aware of and do our best to counteract. So what can you as parents do to help? Limit screen time and use of tech devices at home in order to replace it with conversation and reading, as we need to boost literacy skills. Try not to use labels and cliches such as boys are lazy or boys will be boys. Encourage joining extracurricular activities either in school or outside of school. Give them responsibilities around the house. Offer challenges and praise the effort, not necessarily the outcome, but the effort they put in. Use short-term goals and rewards. If you offer them something that won't come to fruition until next year, it doesn't work. Make them do things for themselves. Some parents in Key Stage 3 still pack their children's bag. They should be doing it themselves. There is sometimes a kind of learned helplessness around boys, and we need to encourage independence. Give praise, but don't go over the top, otherwise boys just get embarrassed. Boys don't often see men reading, and they think it's a female activity, and so miss out on crucial aspects of language development and understanding. Be a role model. Create opportunities for family time around the table and encourage chat and engagement and talking to others. Be positive and encouraging. Relationships with dads are especially important, regardless of whether they're living in the same household or not. It's still the case that more mums engage with school over their sons' learning than dads do, which again perpetuates the idea that learning and education is more of a female thing. In dealing with some of the challenging and defiant behaviour, try to use some of the following techniques, as we do try to do at school. So first of all, the broken record. Repeat the instruction using a flat tone with no emotional attitude until it's carried out. Don't interrupt the flow of a lesson or anything that you're dealing with to deal with an issue, for example, them being late, but use it to signal them to sit down, be quiet or whatever, and only say something like, "We'll sort this later." Don't use the word please. Issuing commands and instructions becomes more assertive if you omit the please. So, for example, you could say, "Move over here, thank you." It removes the suggestion that people might choose what to do. Reinforce positive actions and behaviour through positive praise, not by negative comment or nagging when something wrong happens. Agreement frames. Avoid confrontations by using language that references what you can see to be true, what you know to be true, what you believe to be true, and what is compatible with what you are feeling. Take the emotional state out of it. For example, "Thanks for getting here so promptly. I imagine you're annoyed at having to miss part of your football." Parent Mail app. We would encourage all parents to download the Parent Mail app onto their phones. This will allow you to receive instant messaging from school and enable you to complete and submit forms on your phone. Queries for parents can be directed as on the screen. Reminders. Check and sign the planner at least weekly to see any homework and any notes from staff. Log into Accelerated Reader to monitor your child's reading progress. Log on to Hegarty to monitor maths. Log on to Loingascope to monitor French. Read Surfboard as it has reminders about upcoming events and deadlines. Check emails and texts for contact from school. And lastly, a reminder of our contact numbers should you need them. I'd like to say thank you for listening, and I'm going to hand you over now to Mr. Miles.
Good evening, everybody. If we've not met before, I'm Jeremy Miles and I'm Deputy Head Teacher here at St Edward's Royal Free Middle School. I'm going to talk to you tonight about two things. Firstly, assessment, and secondly, how we intend to run our parents' evenings this year. You'll be pleased to know I've only got 2 slides, so I'm not going to keep you for too much longer this evening, but I hope what I share with you is going to be of some use. So the first thing I wish to speak about is assessment, and particularly Year 8 tests and Year 8 assessments. I know this evening we have parents with children in Year 7 and Year 8. The processes that we have for our assessment we've had in place for about 4 or 5 years now. So when your child in Year 7 comes through to Year 8, the test that we're currently running will still be taking place. So I think it's useful if you're a Year 7 parent to hear this now, because your child will experience something similar next year. We have assessment weeks in the summer term, and we run those assessment weeks with all 4 of our year groups, years 5 to 8. We think it's really important that we run these assessment weeks so children get to experience sitting tests consecutively through a series of days. Now, in year 6, these assessments are formalised, so we are required to run SATs in year 6, and these are tests that are overseen by the Department for Education, and we're actually informed when in the year that these tests are undertaken. And in year 8, whilst these tests are formalised, there's no statutory requirement to run them, but we have an agreement across the Windsor Middle Schools that we run similar tests with our year 8 cohorts. And this is something that we've been working on with the 3 other middle schools over the last 4 or 5 years. So we refer to these tests as year 8 transition tests. As I said, they're not set by the senior schools, they're actually set by the middle schools. And we meet at different stages of the year to agree the content of the tests. Now, provisionally, they are due to run week commencing Monday, the 14th of June. And I say that it's a provisional date because, as you might be aware, there's lots of discussions around when tests are going to be taking place this year, both at GCSE and Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2. So this date at some stage may change, but we will notify you of these dates a bit closer to the time. Now, during our year 8 test week, children will sit exams in English, Maths, Science, French and RE. In each subject, they will have 2 test papers. They will sit 1 test in the morning and the second test in the afternoon. All 4 middle schools sit the same timetable. So when children here at St Edward's are undertaking their English exam, it would be the same in the other 3 middle schools as well. Now, what the children are tested on is what they cover in year 7 and year 8. So it tests them on the skills and the knowledge that they're learning in lessons. It's not a separate assessment. It's very much testing them on what they've covered with their class teachers. And as Mrs. Meany mentioned earlier, these raw scores are sent through to the senior schools alongside their teacher assessments in the summer term. And these assist the senior schools in setting and grouping the children when they move up in year 9. And it was interesting to see or get feedback from the senior schools this year that they had some difficulties with the setting in year 9. And I think they waited till the start of October before they did that, because back in the summer we were unable to take sit the year 8 exams and send any data across to them. So this information is valuable to them and is really important. The reason why I mentioned this evening, these assessments are really to highlight the importance that children need to prepare for these tests. As I mentioned, the provisional date is Monday the 14th of June that the test will start, and that's a week after half-term week in the summer term. So it's really important that in the lead up to the tests that children are revising and they're preparing for those exams properly, and they've got the right equipment for when those tests take place. So the second thing I wanted to speak to you this evening about was parents' evenings. Now, I'm sure many of you have attended our parents' evenings before, and if you have done, you'll know that they take place in our school hall, and we normally have quite a high uptake of parents attend those evenings. And as you can probably appreciate, this year they can't work in the same format, so we've had to think really carefully as to how they will work. We have already held a parent meeting. It took place on our inset day in October, and that was an opportunity for you to have a conversation with your child's class teacher, their form tutor. And we use Google Classroom as our vehicle for that, and Google Meets. And it worked for that meeting, but we were made aware by some parents of the difficulties of accessing that meeting through their child's Google Classroom account. So we've had a look at what's out there, and one of the software systems that we were quite impressed with was School Cloud. And we've managed to speak to some of the schools that are already using School Cloud, and it's the one that we've chosen to run our parents' evenings through. So what School Cloud offers is a virtual platform for us to lead our parents' meetings through. And as you can see up on the screen, we've already confirmed the dates for next term. Now, normally, if we were running our usual programme, we would have had 3 of our parents' evenings already in this term, and we've moved all our parents' evenings into the spring term, and they will run from January through to the end of March. So the Year 8 evening will take place on Wednesday the 10th of March, and the Year 7 evening will take place on Wednesday the 31st of March. And again, we will be writing to you after the Christmas break to confirm these dates. Now, as we have done before, there are some teachers in Year 7 and Year 8 who teach more than one class. So both Mrs. Winter, one of our English teachers, and Mrs. Smith and Miss Marsh, our maths teachers, teach over 60 children. And it's not possible for them to have all their parents' meetings all in one evening. So we will be adding an additional evening that week for appointments to be made if you're not able to make appointments on the main night. And again, this will be detailed in the letter that we'll be sending after Christmas. So the format of the parents' evenings will operate very much the same way. It will run from 4 till 7 o'clock. You'll be able to book 5-minute appointments with your child's class teacher. One of the bits of feedback that we have received from the schools that we've spoken to that have already started to use this software is that the meetings do finish after 5 minutes, and you'll see a timer, a countdown will appear up on the screen. And at the end of that meeting, it will just close and we'll move on to the next appointment, and teachers can't control that. So it's really important that the conversations are focused and everything is covered in that 5-minute slot. So there will be an opportunity to meet with your child's English and Maths teachers, as well as a selection of the foundation teachers that they work with. Like we do with our parents' evenings, we do expect your child to be on the call with you. I think it's really important that they hear the feedback that their class teacher is giving them. And we understand that the software will allow you to access the call from a mobile phone or from a tablet, so you don't need to be sitting necessarily behind a computer to have that meeting, which hopefully will make it slightly easier. One thing we would like to add is, with our parents' evenings, all staff will have taught a full day at school, so it's quite a long day for teachers who start their day at 8:30 and finish at 7 o'clock. So please bear with us. Please support us. It is the first time we're using this system. I'm sure there will be some difficulties that we will encounter along the way. So, please work with us on that front. OK, so that concludes the evening this evening. I hope you found the evening useful. Thank you very much for joining us. You will shortly receive, if you haven't done so already, a survey through parent mail. And we're keen for you to give us some feedback as to how you found the evening. It's only short, so please do take the time to complete it. Thank you for your time this evening, and we look forward to seeing you soon.